All right. We are back, everybody, on the channel here. Thank you to my followers here of the Rudy's World channel. I know it's all over the place. Cars, monster masks, cars, monster masks. But it seems to work, right? Today, we're back to Halloween masks here in the Crimson Ghost Mask Room. And I'm going to start introducing you to pieces that I've been talking about since last October. Pieces known as the Halloween Society pieces. They're not known as that. They're pieces by the Halloween Society. A quick and easy way for me to describe who the Halloween Society were, or who they were. They're a very small, elite group of collectors and horror movie enthusiasts in Los Angeles, Hollywood area. The Halloween Society was formed by two gentlemen by the name of Ron McGid and Dante Renta. And they would produce magazines called the Halloween Gazette. You can see a little pumpkin up here. It says the Halloween Society. It's like a little logo of theirs. These guys were hardcore enthusiasts of horror and masks and makeup and all the old stuff. You know, this is going back to the, I guess, early 80s. I don't exactly have the timeline of when they formed the Halloween Society. But they would put out, like I said, these magazines known as the Halloween Gazette. There's a bunch of old ones you could dig up out there on the internet. And they're so cool. This one has Vory Ackerman, Vern Langdon, and Ape. This is way before the internet, obviously. Things were Xeroxed black and white. They'll teach you about masks. You know, there was no internet. So this was a cool way for people out there to learn about masks, who made them. Articles about Don Post himself are in here. Mask and monster making. They talked about it all. But more importantly, what I'm getting at is they would offer special pieces for sale, okay? The Halloween Society pieces. And they would get amazing sculptors at the time. Guys like Henry Alvarez, Paul Day Clemens, for example, and they would produce these very limited pieces. And these Halloween Society pieces, like, in the whole vast mask hobby these days, not a lot of people know about these things. I would say a lot of the younger collectors are not going to really know about Halloween Society pieces unless they're in groups with us old heads and the really old heads out there who mention these things, or maybe we'll post pictures of them from time to time. I've known about these things for many years. I was offered a Halloween Society mummy many years ago, passed on it. I should have bought it, but it's like once you buy one, you're going to want to go after all of them. And they're so rare, I kind of just stayed away from them because I didn't think I would ever get a chance to accumulate a nice collection of Halloween Society pieces. That all changed, though, when I became friends with Frank and was introduced to his amazing Frankenshrine collection. So we could technically make this a Artifacts of the Frankenshrine episode. And even though it's about Halloween Society masks, the piece we're talking about tonight indeed came from Frank's collection. So, Ron and Dante would advertise really neat pieces for sale on these black and white flyers or in their Halloween Gazette. We may do one or two per video. This piece is quite incredible, and it's larger than life. It's life-size, but it's larger than life. I have, okay, so this this piece was based off of a silent film, Der GOLUM. Okay, and if you don't know who the Golem is, it's a very famous silent film, and I think a lot of you are going to know exactly what this is, but you can go on YouTube and watch this old film if you have no idea what this is. It's pretty wild. But I'm going to hold this up to the camera. Take a look at that. This is how they would advertise these amazing limited edition Halloween Society pieces. They usually give you a little rundown of the movie character, talk about it, but then they will tell you, sometimes they would tell you who sculpted it, from what I remember anyway, but you needn't possess the key of Solomon to own this incredible custom collector's edition, but because of the difficulty in manufacturing and shipping the Golem, we're only offering 10 copies. So what I'm about to show you is one of only 10 made. Right now, I don't remember the exact date this was made, but it was mid-80s, okay? They made 10 of these Golems. I know that at least 2 different people worked on sculpting this massive piece. And we're talking a massive, massive piece made of latex rubber. And it was foam filled. This was a massive mold, okay? Definitely, I don't think one person could have handled the slush casting on this crazy piece. Let me go get this thing. You've seen the little advertisement here that would... You've seen the Halloween Gazettes. I want to mention, later in later years, the Halloween Gazette, Ron McGid ended up, I think, leaving the Halloween Society. David Lady became a part of it, and the Halloween Gazette was no more, from to my knowledge, okay? But there was something called, David was part of the All Hallows Eve Companion, okay? Don't get those two mixed up. So, 2 different old school magazines on the subjects, and they're both awesome. If you could find these old things, get lost in them, reading about the old days of collecting, and you'll see what it was like with no mention of websites, the internet, just the good old days. Let me go get this massive piece known as Der Golem. My God, look at this. So this is the Golem. I told you, larger than life, right? These pieces came with COAs, okay? You would get a special certificate, which was hand signed by Dante and Ron McGid, okay? This one went straight to Frank, and it says here, Halloween Society Custom Collector's Edition. Your household is now secure, Frank, under the watchful eye of Golum. And this is number 6 from a limited edition of 10 full-size busts, okay? So this has the original COA, and I was lucky enough to get brand new COAs with my name on them, which is so awesome for these old pieces that are now part of the Crimson Ghost Mask Room. Can you hold that? Dante's Aunt Catherine Abraham sculpted the face. Joe Reeder finished the rest of the sculpture. Joe then went on to cast the first piece. He made the mold off of it, casted the very first one, polyfoamed it, and painted it, and that became Dante's personal copy, the first one. The rest of this Halloween Society run was all casted by hand by Dante himself. I swear he told me it took 17 gallons of latex to fill the mold, something crazy like that. But he did all of them. They were all painted by various artists, and Dante said that mold looked like Matterhorn Mountain. It was so massive. But Dante is the one who ended up casting all of those by hand, and then different artists painted them up. So, pretty wild. So that's the story. Catherine Abraham sculpted that face. Joe Reeder did all the rest. ended up molding it, casting it, making the first one for Dante. So this thing is amazing. I got some old photos of this thing being produced. You'll see a bunch of them lined up in this picture I'm going to show you now. And I've always said that Frank had to have things that were special. He always had to have special copies, different copies, and whatnot. This particular copy looks different than all the other 9 that were produced. Maybe I could find a photo of one of the others that a friend of mine owns. I'll see if I could find it really quick here. But they weren't painted in this finish that this one is. He's different. He has like a speckle paint finish, almost like the old speckle paint that looks like stone. He looks like that. So I don't know if this was custom done by David Lady for Frank way back in the day or not. I'm not sure who did the customization of this one, but this massive piece is quite incredible. And this is number 6 out of the run of 10 Halloween Society pieces. Very rare. I probably over the years have seen 3 of them. So I don't know who all owns these, but I've seen 2 or 3 at least in other collections, and recently another one. But honestly, it's quite rare. So I'm gonna turn them around so you can kind of see the different sides of him and what he looks like, because this is not something you will see every day in collections. And I'm gonna take the camera down and get closer to his face. Okay, look how big this thing is. It's crazy. All right, let's pull the camera down. By the way, I figured I would show you this. In this old Halloween Society magazine, The World in Pictures, there's actually a old interview here. Dante and Ron are in this. I thought it was really cool, so I just want to show you guys that. But if you find these old, if you go and search for these on the internet, if you're lucky, you'll find them. They're very tough to acquire, but they can be found. I'm lucky I got all of Frank's originals here. So that was cool. Let's take the camera down and let's look. Let's get a little closer here at the old GOLUM. Maybe you can have an assignment now and go watch this film for Halloween, for your October. Should we start telling you what movies you should watch? You know, I doubt a lot of you have seen this film, but some of you definitely know exactly what this is. Go check it out. It's a crazy old movie. Silent film, of course, like I said. But pretty neat. Should we talk about 2 Halloween Society pieces in this video? Why not? Let's do 2, because I have roughly a dozen of the original Halloween Society pieces here in this collection. Now we're going to talk about another Halloween Society release that is one of my all-time favorites. Another classic horror icon, okay? This monster was only on the screen for like less than a minute in this film. He's on the movie poster. It's one of the most iconic creatures of all time when it comes to horror and sci-fi. Let's see if you can guess this one. He's got 2 pointy horns on his head. We're gonna remove the old GOLUM. Come on, old boy. Let's go back to your crib. Now, this one is quite special, you guys. Good old Curse of the Demon. Now this is cool. This is a very special copy, by the way. I'm going to put his little COA here. This was quite special, according to this. The film was the 1957 classic Curse of the Demon. This was also a Jim Leonard creation as far as the sculpt. And to my knowledge, it was sculpted in the early 80s, but then wasn't offered for, you know, a few more years to the Halloween Society. Probably around 85 or 86. I wish they would have dated these certificates, you know, that would have been amazing. Frank's Curse of the Demon from the good old Frankenshrine is, as you can see here, This says, Halloween Society Custom Collector's Edition. You have been chosen, Frank, to receive copy number 1 of 13. This is number 1. Holy shit. Number 1 of 13, Curse of the Demon Masks. Let no arm be raised to defend you. The very first Halloween Society Curse of the Demon to be produced is right in front of your eyeball. All right, hang on. All right, look at this. Now this guy was covered in dust. He was really, really dusty. He was sealed off in a room that was not opened for over 9 years. And unfortunately, he was one of the pieces that was not covered in plastic. So when I found him, he was gray. He was so dusty. But I really took a lot of time to clean him recently and get him looking good. And man, look at that thing. Here's a nice, here's what that certificate looks like. Curse of the Demon. There have been other attempts at Curse of the Demon pieces out there. This is my absolute favorite. Next to the good old Devil's Workshop edition, which is just massive. Pete made one that's just, everyone loves it. It's so big and crazy. Look how big this is compared to my hand. See that? Just a killer. That's like a Snow Beast version, but the Halloween Society one is the best. There is actually a really rare Distortions one that I think Ed sculpted that is also cool. But this, man, the sculpt on this one is just killer. And just had to show you this. Since we're talking about Halloween Society, we had to come right out with 2 incredible pieces. And these are so rare, you know. This is 1 of 13, but this is number 1 of those 13. And I had to show you guys this. So I'm also going to probably close out this video with something I was filming last night. Okay, I sold a piece of a set, a 4-piece set that I've had for a long time. I decided to come off of these 2 things made by Dompo Studios, and they have to do with gorillas and apes. So I'm going to play that footage now, and that's going to be the end of this video. So check this out. Look at these. These, my friends, are original 1970s Dompo Studios gorilla feet. These are very, very rare. I think these could have been produced in 1977. They were first sculpted by none other than Marcel Delgado. If you've been following my videos for quite a long time, you've heard me talk about Marcel Delgado, sculptor of the original King Kong. And he not only sculpted the Delgado gorilla mask, that was, as we call it, but he went on to make these awesome feet, and I believe he sculpted the gorilla hands. These were latex rubber feet that you slip on your human feet, and you can wear them with your gorilla costume. So the cool part about these is they complete a set that I have, and I'm going to go get you and show you the whole set together. And some people may think I'm absolutely nuts for selling these, but I need room in here, okay? I really need room, and it's kind of getting out of hand once again. So hang tight. I'm gonna go get the rest of this set to show you what this looks like with the hands and the mask. So check that out. I'm totally keeping my 70s hands, okay? Remember, I'm really big into hands and masks. The feet are amazing, but they just don't fit in my cases. They've been on, you know, lower on the floor in here for a long time, and they're going to another collector who's going to love them. So I had to show this as a complete set on this video, on this channel, because I may never own a full set ever again. Once these are gone, I will probably never see another set surface. I had them foam filled maybe 8 or 9 years ago. I'm the one that had them foam filled years ago after I scored them, but that is a full set. Now, this is pictured with a Kong mask, a late 70s Kong, which is not technically a gorilla. I'll go get my gorilla mask by Dompo Studios to show you what it looks like, but it really wasn't the one that came with these at the time of, it really wasn't the one that would have been purchased at the time these were produced. The Hollywood gorilla I have came out in the late 60s, and it's very, very rare, but you'll see it looks different than this stuff, so it doesn't quite match up. This matches up great, but I just had to show you guys this because honestly, I've probably only seen like 2 or 3 complete sets over the years, and this is one of them. And I'm not, you know, I have no problem selling them. I've had them for a long time. Very cool, but time to get something different down here. Time to move on, get some different masks or something with the money, and you know, change it up a bit. So here is the set with my late 60s Hollywood gorilla, and totally different look. You know, he's brown. You could have wore all this together with a ape costume, but I always thought it looked so much better with that Kong mask. But you know, had to take some final photographs and video, and I had to show you guys this amazing set before I ship those babies out. So they're going all the way towards the West Coast, and will no longer be sitting here in the good old Midwest. Pretty wild, huh? And you'll notice there's some empty spaces back there. I've got a big group of pieces being foam filled right now, so that's why you're seeing some empty spots on the shelves back there. So I hope you liked this episode. Once again, we're not doing 31 days of Halloween, but I'm really trying to give you videos every day that I possibly can, and I'm not giving up. So we'll be back hopefully tomorrow with more. This is probably going to come up late tonight on your feed, so thank you, and I'll see you tomorrow.